Have you ever felt like nothing in your life makes sense right now, like every step you take only leads you further into confusion? What if I told you that this feeling of being lost isn't exactly what it seems, and that you're actually being guided even when everything around you seems completely out of place? Don't ignore this message, because it might be exactly what your heart needs to hear today. Often, we believe we've been abandoned when doors close, when plans go wrong, or when the path ahead becomes uncertain, but the truth is often much more powerful than what we can see at the moment. You are not lost, even if everything seems to be falling apart. You are being guided by a process that you don't yet fully understand. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may completely change how you see your current situation. Have you ever gone through moments where you questioned your direction, your purpose, or even your faith? In the midst of these silent and confusing moments, something deeper may be happening behind what you see. What you are discovering now is not just another message, but a reminder that what seems like a delay may, in fact, be preparation. And as we move forward with this, you may begin to see your situation in a completely new way. If this topic is already making sense to you, stop for a moment and think about everything you're experiencing right now, and leave a comment here about what has touched your heart the most so far, even if it's just a word or a simple phrase. Sometimes, sharing what we feel is exactly the first step to understanding what God is doing in our lives. And your experience can also help other people who are going through the same moment of confusion and uncertainty. If this video is bringing you any kind of peace, reflection, or clarity, don't forget to like it, because that helps this content reach more people who also need to hear this message today. And if you feel you want to continue receiving this kind of message, guidance, and spiritual strengthening, subscribe to the Divine Call channel, because that's precisely the intention here, to bring messages that touch the heart and bring light in moments of doubt and waiting. Your participation here is not just a simple gesture, it helps this channel grow and allows this message to reach more people who may be feeling exactly as you felt when you started watching. And in the meantime, let's continue together, because there's something deeper you need to understand about this path you're being guided on. And when you begin to look more deeply into these moments of uncertainty, you realize that the feeling of being lost almost never appears randomly. It usually arises when something within you is silently being reorganized. It's as if life is pushing you towards a transformation that you can't yet name, but that is already happening behind the scenes of your journey. Often, closed doors, unexpected changes, and even frustrations that seem unfair are part of an alignment process that you only understand later, when you look at everything with a new mindset. Perhaps you're at that exact point right now, where everything seems stagnant or directionless, but in reality, there's an invisible movement building something bigger within your story. What seems like confusion may just be the beginning of an inner revelation, a shift in perception that prepares you for more conscious decisions and clearer paths. And that's what many people don't realize. It's not about being off track, but about being adjusted to a path more aligned with purpose and growth. There's a hidden truth behind this period of silence and doubt that can completely change how you see this phase of your life. Comment below, does this make sense to me? And when you understand this process more deeply, you begin to realize that nothing that has happened so far has been truly random. There is an invisible guiding principle behind every decision you've made, even the choices that seemed wrong or the paths that didn't work out. What seems like a delay may actually be part of a much more precise construction than you imagined, as if every detail is being adjusted at a level that goes beyond immediate comprehension. In fact, this is one of the greatest hidden truths of this spiritual and emotional journey. You don't receive the entire map at once, only the next step. And this isn't a lack of direction. It's a kind of wisdom that shapes your mindset and strengthens your confidence along the way. If everything were visible all at once, perhaps you wouldn't develop the sensitivity, maturity, and inner impact necessary to recognize the purpose behind each phase. And it is precisely at this point that many people get confused, thinking that a lack of clarity is a lack of direction, when in reality it may be the opposite. There is a constant movement behind the scenes of your life, aligning encounters, closing cycles and preparing new possibilities that have not yet fully revealed themselves. Understanding how this process works can completely change the way you see each step of your journey. Write this down, I understand the path. And when you observe all this more calmly, you begin to notice a pattern that previously went unnoticed. Some doors that closed in your life were not signs of loss, but part of a silent redirection that you couldn't yet see. Often, the initial impact of a no or a blockage creates a feeling of frustration, but behind that there may be an invisible protection keeping you away from paths that wouldn't make sense for your growth. There's a profound truth here about transformation and mindset. Not every setback is negative, and not every closure is definitive. In many cases, what seems like a limitation is simply a course correction happening behind the scenes of your journey, preparing something bigger, more aligned, and more consistent with your purpose. It's as if life is strategically rearranging the pieces, even when you can only see part of the picture. And this completely changes how you interpret each situation, because instead of seeing obstacles as an end, you begin to see them as a transition. Some doors close precisely so that other, much larger and more significant doors can be opened at the right time. What is really behind these redirections can change how you react to each new decision that comes your way. Write this down: God is opening paths. And when you start to piece together all these insights, there's a point where the initial confusion begins to lose its power and gives way to a deeper understanding of trust and process. Even without fully understanding what's happening, there's a silent invitation to keep walking, one step at a time, even when the vision isn't yet clear. It's at this point that faith ceases to be just an idea and becomes a daily practice within your journey. Often, the greatest challenge is not the absence of answers, but the ability to keep moving forward without them. And this doesn't mean ignoring reality, but learning to see beyond it, recognizing that there is an invisible construction happening in parallel with everything you experience. These moments of spiritual silence do not represent abandonment, but rather a type of internal preparation, where your mindset is strengthened and your perception begins to expand gradually. In fact, it is precisely during this period of apparent pause that many important changes are being shaped behind the scenes of your life, adjusting paths, strengthening decisions, and preparing you for something that has not yet been revealed. There is a dimension to this silent construction that can completely change how you understand this process of waiting and trusting. Comment below: I continue to trust. And when you reach that point of understanding, something within you begins to change almost imperceptibly, as if a new mindset is being built behind your emotions and thoughts. What once seemed like mere waiting now begins to be understood as part of a larger process of transformation, where every detail of your journey is being aligned with a purpose that is still unfolding. There is a very strong spiritual and emotional truth here. Today is not just another ordinary day in your life. It may represent a silent turning point, where invisible movements begin to manifest in decisions, opportunities, and paths that were previously inaccessible. Even if you cannot yet see immediate external changes, this does not mean a lack of action, but rather a construction that is happening behind the scenes of your reality. At many times, human perception only sees the result afterward, but the process has already begun long before that. And that's exactly why trust becomes so important, because while you think nothing is happening, decisions are being aligned, doors are being prepared, and paths are being strategically reorganized on your journey. Today could be the beginning of a new phase, even if it seems silent now. Write this down: I believe in my path. And if you've made it this far, perhaps this message wasn't just something to listen to, but something to truly feel and calmly reflect upon in your heart. If this content resonated with you on any level, consider subscribing to the channel, because the idea here is precisely to continue bringing words that help you see life with more clarity, faith, and direction in moments when everything seems uncertain. If you watched until the end, leave a comment saying, "I'm with you until the end," because that shows that this journey of understanding isn't a solitary one, and that there are other people going through the exact same process of transformation and discovery. And if this message touched you in any way, don't forget to like it, because that helps this video reach more people who also need to hear this today. And now, if you feel you want to continue this reflection, there's a video here that perfectly complements everything we've discussed. Click on it and continue with me there, because this journey still has more important things for you to understand.